Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the Thurman versus Porter conference call. Your host for today, Lou DiBella, will begin.
Thank you for being with us for the Keith Thurman, Shawn Porter Welterweight Championship conference call. Showtime Championship Boxing on CBS, presented by Premier Boxing Champions. It'll be at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, Saturday, June 25th, live at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Tickets for the live event are on sale now. They can be purchased online at Ticketmaster.com, BarclaysCenter.com, by calling Ticketmaster at 1-800-745-3000 or at the box office at the Barclays Center. The lower bowl of the arena is basically sold out right now. There are a few tickets available at the higher price ranges, but anyone who still wants those should get to the box office as quickly as possible. These fighters don't require a lot of introduction. This is the best fighting the best, about as good as it gets. To tell you a little bit more about the telecast, I'm going to turn it over to the man who made it possible from Showtime Sports, the man who runs the shop there, Steven Espinosa.
Thanks very much, Lou. We are thrilled to be presenting this card as our colleagues at CBS and CBS Sports. As many of you have heard, this marks the return of boxing to CBS primetime for the first time in nearly 40 years. 1978 was the year of the last CBS primetime boxing telecast, and that was Ali Spinks 1. And so with the return of boxing to CBS primetime, we've got big shoes to fill. It took something very special for CBS to step back in, and that's exactly what we have. This bout is part of an incredibly strong lineup for Showtime Sports this year. We're in the midst of 8 boxing events from between April and July with over 14 World Championship bouts. And these are events which feature the best fighting the best. Top 10, top 5 ranked fighters facing other top 10 and top 5 ranked fighters. In this particular card on the 25th, we've got, for my money, the 2 best active welterweights in the world fighting each other. We've got 2 of the top 5 featherweights fighting each other in the co-feature. And we are very proud that this is on CBS, produced by Showtime Sports, presented by Premier Boxing Champions. This is a card that really reflects the best this sport has to offer, which is why we want this to be available to the widest possible audience. This is our sport putting forth its best foot. The best matchups, the best individuals. These are classy guys, both in the ring and outside the ring. And most of all, they are tremendous boxers, tremendous competitors. This event is part of a huge day for Showtime on June 25th. Earlier that afternoon, we'll be telecasting on Showtime Live the heavyweight title match, Anthony Joshua versus Dominic Breazeale. Then in the evening, to cap it off with a championship doubleheader with these 2 fine fighters, Keith Thurman and Shawn Porter. And for my money, it really is, in terms of quality and stature and significance of the sport, it is the card of the year without question. Lou, back to you.
Thank you, Steven. As I said, these fighters don't require a lot of introduction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw it over to each one of them. But for purposes of the writers, both fighters will be on the line through the entire call. So when questions come in, both fighters' mics are active. So Keith and Shawn, you can jump in and when you have something to say, just feel right, happy to pipe right up and say it. First, the man challenging for the WBA World Welterweight Championship, Showtime Shawn Porter, originally from Akron, Ohio, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, with a record of 26-1-1 and 16 KOs. Shawn?
What's up, everybody? Want to thank everybody for putting this fight together. Lou DiBella, Steven Espinosa for getting us on CBS prime time. Awesome time for boxing, awesome time for Team Porter. And definitely looking forward to this fight. And I want to just do one thing, and that's just reiterate what Steven Espinosa said. This is without a question the fight of the year. And I'm humbled and honored to be a part of that, and I know I'm going to do my job, and I'm going to leave that ring as the new WBA champion. I've been working extremely hard, as you all know, like I always do, and I will be prepared for any and everything that Keith has, and we'll see if he's prepared for any and everything I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Shawn. And now at 27 years old, fighting out of Clearwater, Florida, the WBA World Welterweight Champion, one of the hardest punchers and most improving champions in all of boxing, Keith one-time Thurman.
How's everybody doing today? I'm happy to be here. Nice to be a part of this conference call. Looking forward to this fight. Everybody knows it's a big, exciting fight for the world of boxing, for myself and my career, for Shawn Porter, and for the fans. So let's get this on.
We'll open it right up to questions, moderator. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions at this time, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, if you have any questions at this time, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. And I'm waiting for callers to join the queue. Our first question is going to come from Dan Raphael from ESPN. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Hey, guys. How are you today?
What's up, Dan?
Hey. My first question for both of you guys, I guess, Shawn, you can go first. I suppose, you're going to be fighting your first fight in, I believe, basically 1 year, almost to the day, since you fought since you had the win against Adrian Broner. Keith, you're also going to be fighting. It's going to be your first fight in 11 months since the Collazo fight last summer. Shawn, could you start off by just talking to me? You're in your prime, young guy. Were you at all frustrated by having a year off, especially after what many would look at as perhaps your biggest victory against Broner in the last fight?
Well, you know what? That's not what I wanted. That's not what I expected. I expected to, come out of that big fight and go right into another. But, it's boxing, it's business, and you got to do what you got to do. So when Keith Thurman was became the next fighter for me to fight against, it just became a matter of time. So, I think I've spent all that time wisely, still training, taking a little bit of time off here and there to enjoy life, but, mostly doing what I've been doing for the last probably 2 or 3 years now, which is focusing on Keith and what he has to bring to the ring and being ready for this fight. I think Demetrius Andre showed a prime example of, not having ring rust, It's been a while since he fought, and he came out and did a spectacular job. It's been a little while since I fought, but I don't believe in ring rust. So I believe, next weekend I'll be in full force and ready to take that belt.
Shawn, was there any point during that year between fights that there was discussion about you fighting again, say at the end of last year? I mean, even before the fight between you and Keith was finalized for, the earlier part of this year.
Well, yeah, that was. You always make a plan. That's what my dad does. He makes a plan, and we try to execute that plan as much as possible. So, coming out of a June fight, we wanted to fight again, and I think we wanted to fight again, I think, around October or November. But, that was the plan, and sometimes you got to roll with the punches,
Right.
Boxing.
Keith, and from your point of view, you had a good victory in front of a big, raucous crowd in your hometown, scored a knockout, and then 11 months later, you're having your next fight. I asked the same question that I asked to Shawn about your thoughts about being in your prime, being a world champion, and having to be off 11 months. I know it was a little bit problematic because of the car accident, but nonetheless, still a lengthy layoff. Your point about that, was that a problem for you, or was it just the way things go, like Shawn said?
Yeah, it's just the way that the chips fell, man. Me and Shawn both could have probably got a performance in, but we were happy to be making, instead of just a normal performance, putting on a great performance, even if we both had to wait for it. We're both really getting what we wanted out of this fight. It was worth the wait. I've had ups and downs. I've had injuries several times throughout my career. My biggest layoff was about 14 months. So it is what it is. There's nothing to really complain about. We both feel good. I've had plenty of time to recover from my accident, get back into camp, and do what I need to do. to perform for you guys come this 25th.
Well, I was going to ask you about, you mentioned the accident. Can you just go through how long did it take you to get back to the point where you were, 100%, let's say, going into the gym, and are you fully recovered from that incident?
It took 6 weeks before I could go back to the gym, and then, we just had to take it in increments as far as recovering, as far as working hard. Didn't want to push my body too hard right away. Didn't want to re-aggravate anything. Just listen to my doctors. Stay doing my regular checkup routines, and we're good to go.
So everything's good now.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, fellas. I look forward to seeing you next week.
We'll see you, son. Take care.
Our next question is going to come from John Gatler from My Examiner. Please go ahead.
Hey, Keith. How's Shawn?
What's up, man?
Hello? How you doing? Listen, Shawn, the question for you is the last time you fought, you obviously, Dan just talked about the Adrian Broner fight, but you were at a catch weight in that fight, 145 pounds. And then you mentioned that the time off and Keith's accident actually helped you prepare a little bit better for this fight. Can you talk about some of the differences between preparing for Broner and now preparing to Keith at a full 147?
Well, you know what? That contract weight was 144.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Don't short me a pound, man. I had to work hard for that pound. You're supposed to learn from every experience you have, so I honestly and firmly believe that every experience that I've had in boxing has prepared me for this fight with Keith Thurman. Certain obstacles that we had to fight through with the Broner fight, such as, making that catch weight of 144. It confirmed to me that I can be strong at whatever weight I have to fight at. So I'm back at my regular weight at 147. No struggle to make the weight, and I know I'm going to be strong and healthy coming into the fight. So that's about it. I think that Keith's accident, it pushed things back, from a timeline perspective, but from other perspectives, I was able to gain a lot from longer for this fight, So I truly believe it was a blessing for myself, and I'm looking forward to taking advantage of being able to train longer for this fight.
Okay. Keith, obviously this is the biggest fight of your career. We know what the stakes are in the welterweight division. You know what a victory over Shawn would mean to you, and Shawn knows what a victory would mean over you. How he mentioned that the time off helped him prepare a little bit better. Has it helped you reacclimate yourself to the game and maybe some things that you can expose to Shawn? The two of you obviously know each other real well. How do you think that knowledge of each other is going to play out in this fight for the 25th in Brooklyn?
We do know each other very well. It has been a little while since we've seen each other, and we've never seen each other under the bright lights. Fight night is a different kind of night. I expect to see the Shawn Porter I know. I also expect to maybe see something that I've maybe not quite seen before. He's going to be gunning for the title. It's a very special night. I'm going to be defending my title. I just feel comfortable, man. The accident didn't really help me at all or hurt me or do anything special. All it really did was give us more time to constantly, think about this fight. We were going to approach the fight pretty much the same way, no matter what. We didn't change up our game plan from the first training camp into this training camp. We stuck with the same game plan. We gave ourselves enough time to get in shape, and that was really the most important thing, was to assess with my doctors how quickly I could recover and get back into conditioning to be prepared for this fight.
All right. Good luck on the 25th, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question is going to come from Martin Finley from the Tampa Bay Times. Please go ahead.
Hey, for both guys, you talked about this. It's a crowded field. There are former champions. There are a few undefeated champions. There's some up-and-comers. For both you guys, what tells you that you are the man division? What is it about you guys right now?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the full question.
What makes you think you're the best guy in the division? You're the man. For both of you guys.
I think two reasons. I think number one, I believe in myself. I know what I can do, and when I look at the other guys out there in the division, I just know that I have more than the other guys. But I think the public as well. You guys have continued to say that whoever wins this fight will be the number one guy in the division, filling Mayweather's shoes, yada yada yada. I want to do more than just fill those shoes. I want to be the guy that you say, hey, if Mayweather comes back, he better come back to Showtime Shawn Porter because he's the best fighter out there in the division. So I believe it, but you guys have said it enough to make me believe it as well. So thank you for that.
Keith?
Oh man, for me, it's the confidence. It's my amateur background, where I come from, how I grew up in the sport. Training here in St. Pete Boxing with Dan Birmingham and Winky Wright, Jeff Lacey, ever since I was young growing up. The way Ben Getty believed in me and told me that I had everything it took to be champion of the world, and not just a regular champion, but a great champion. And that's the story of most champions and everything. You always strive for your best, and this fight is dedicated to bringing the best out of me. I know you guys are looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. I got lots of love and respect for Shawn, and I look forward to, this challenge of this rivalry that we share, growing up together, never getting to fight one another, but always pushing one another and trying to make one another better. But come by next week, we'll know who's the best. And,
you don't always hear that between boxers. I have a lot of love and respect for a guy that they're about to head into a big fight. Does that make this situation a little unusual or awkward?
I don't think it makes it unusual or awkward at all. I think the fact that we know what each other has, and we've seen each other for a long time, it number one, obviously you're hearing it and you see it, the respect, but also the fact that we want to beat each other to prove to ourselves, to everyone out there in the world that that I'm better than Keith, and I know he has that same mindset. That is why this fight is on CBS prime time, because you're not going to get this again. You're not going to get this again. You're not going to have two guys at the top of the division wanting it all and actually willing to go for it all. And I know Keith has that in him, and he knows damn well I have it in me. And like he just said, I'm gunning for that championship belt. I'm coming for his head. It doesn't matter that we're friends, and I know at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to him. We both have families to take care of. We both have legacies to build, careers to continue to progress on and strive and goals to reach, and the list goes on. With all that being said, it can't be awkward. It can't be weird. It can't be a friendship once after we meet in the center of the ring and touch gloves. We'll meet in the center and touch gloves in the beginning of the fight. We'll meet in the center and we'll touch gloves at the end of the fight. That's it. But in between that time, this is going to be a hell of a fight, and that's why it's on CBS prime time.
I agree with that statement. We've come across a situation, in the amateurs where I've had to compete against sparring partners, so there really is nothing awkward in it, if anything, there's a very, very cool factor, man. To be really honest, there's an extremely just super cool factor that, I remember this dude when he was a teenager. He remembers me when I was a teenager, and here we are, going to be fighting on CBS, opening up the show, prime time. It's our battle is going to be the battle that they see from the last time they aired boxing, which was Muhammad Ali. This is history in the making. Like you said, we both have legacies. We both have dreams that we want to live, and if it means getting through each other, then so be it.
Thanks, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions at this time, please press star one on your telephone keypad. Again, if you have any questions at this time, please press star one on your telephone keypad. Our next question is going to come from Mitch Aberson from theringtv.com. Please go ahead.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. I have a question for Keith. Keith, how you doing today?
Good.
Good. Just wondering, Keith, what's your training camp been this time around? I mean, having to deal with the residual injuries from the car accident. I mean, can you just talk about just what your training camp has been like, trying to, do maintenance with the injury, also trying to prepare for Shawn at the same time?
It's just been a little different as far as we had to spawn back just a little bit in this camp. We couldn't spar early in this camp just to for the safety of my neck and not to jeopardize or risk anything, and just follow my doctor's instructions. We had to build up and start off with just cardio and shadow boxing, and then get into the mitt work and the bag work. And this camp has just been a progression. Nothing really out of the norm. Nothing really changed the pace of too many things. We just had to formulate it a little different so that we can get the job done and be prepared.
What was it like, Keith? I know you began sparring in May. I mean, like the first time you got hit, in your neck, that was the impact. I mean, what was that like? I mean, was there any pain? Did it feel better than expected?
Nah, it took it fine, which I expected, because we were already doing some neck strengthening exercises, and I would have known, I would have had feedback from the resistance training that I was doing if my neck wasn't going to be able to hold up in sparring. I still was thinking about it a little bit in going into it that day for the first day, but it held up. We went and got therapy like we were supposed to that week, and just kept going, and every week since, and it's been fine, man. We feel great. We're happy to, be doing what we do best. Boxing, it's always a little nervous. You're a little hesitant. When you're thinking, okay, I got this issue. Am I going to be able to be the same? Am I going to be able to be the same? And we are, man. That's all that we can ask for, and we're truly blessed.
So, I mean, when you face Shawn on the 25th, I mean, is it safe to say that the injury is going to be, you're not going to be thinking about it, or do you still, because it did happen in February, you still have to, I guess, worry about it a little bit, even though you're back to full strength?
I don't see myself worrying about it come the 25th. The major difference is going to be I'm going to be getting hit with 8-ounce gloves instead of 16-ounce gloves. But we believe that we're well prepared, and we'll be able to handle everything come this up-and-coming fight.
Great. Thanks, Keith. Good luck.
No problem. Thank you.
Our next question is going to come from Eddie Goldman from No Holds Barred. Please go ahead. Our next question comes from Eddie Goldman from No Hold Bars. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks. Hello, everybody. Question for both Keith and Shawn. With all the talk of this fight being the first time on CBS since Ali Spink's one, and of course Muhammad Ali recently passing away, and the welterweight title at stake, and all of this. How do you balance that kind of historical importance with just preparing for this one individual fight and what you have to do on that? And I guess I'll ask Keith first.
Well, I mean, you know what kind of stage you're performing on. You know the platform. You know the significance of everything. But that's not the main concern. You know, the main concern is getting in shape, doing what you're supposed to do, and being prepared to box smart and get the victory that you set out for, execute the game plan. You know, any single time that I'm going to step in the ring, you know, I do my best to put on a good fight. You know, whether I'm putting on a fight or a boxing exhibition, I'm going to do what I think is best for victory. And you know, I'm always trying to hurt my opponents, and I'm hoping that the crowd enjoys the show. You know, but I really don't think too much about all the fine details. You know, you acknowledge it. I'm grateful for everything, but at the end of the day, this is just another boxing match. It's going to be, you know, my hands up against his hands, you know, going toe-to-toe. I'm treating it just like any other show.
And, Keith, what do you see as your advantages against Shawn? And do you see that maybe you want to be more of a boxer? Is he such a pressure fighter? Or what can you do? What do you plan for in your approach to this fight?
Well, I made a statement before, you know, if people want to move forward, I'll move backwards. If they want to move backwards, I move forward, you know. So I don't really I go with the flow of a match, you know. I do what I think is necessary to win, you know. The key to victory is to not let your opponent have his way, whatever way that is. You know, don't let your opponent have his way. You know, a small advantage I have over Shawn, I have a small height advantage. I possibly have a small reach advantage. Well, there's the keys to victory, some would say, would be to keep him on the outside and things of that nature. But I like to stay open-minded and just see what presents itself in the fight, you know. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been real comfortable nowadays. The Luis Collazo fight, you know, I went into that fight with no game plan. You know, the game plan is victory. We will find victory.
Okay, and similar questions for Shawn. Shawn, how do you balance all the discussion on the historical importance of this fight with just preparing for this one fight with your opponent ahead of you?
It comes with the territory, you know, and that's why I say I'm excited to be on CBS and for it to be on prime time and you know, being a part of history, you know. So like he said, you acknowledge it, but you don't, you know, I'm not going to allow it, you know, the importance or the significance of this fight to, you know, override my energy and my mindset going into the fight or anything like that. I'm humbled, you know, that to be the first fight on CBS since, you know, a Muhammad Ali fight. That's awesome, you know. But, you know, I don't, even, you know, being exciting is never a concern of mine, because as long as I'm performing and doing what I'm supposed to do, the fight will be exciting. You know, I have a saying, I don't condone boos. You know, as long as I'm fighting, you will never boo. You'll never be bored or anything like that. So it's awesome. You know, I love it. I think it's going to add to my level of excitement and my positiveness going into the fight, but it won't get me, you know, over excited or anything like that.
And do either of you want to make a prediction, either Ali-esque or otherwise, for this fight?
Ali-esque. Showtime, Shawn Porter leads the ring with that belt.
I'm about to say, it's real simple. We both win, right? I mean, we're both winning, you know.
Nah, we ain't both winning this one.
You think you're going to win. I think I'm going to win. So you think, you know, if they're going to ask the question, they're going to get two winners. You know what I mean? But obviously someone's going down. Obviously someone's going down, and I would like it for it not to be left to the judges. So
exactly. You know, I think that's one thing I've learned from being in the crowd is that people, for whatever reason, they do not like draws. You know, so we're not going to leave it up to the judges. You know, we were discussing that yesterday in the gym. You know, so we're not going to leave it up to the judges. We're going to handle our business and get the job done. Leave that ring with that belt.
Okay, thank you. Good luck to everybody, and I'm looking forward to it.
And our next question is going to come from Kenneth Johnson from RingTV.com. Please go ahead.
It's Kendrick. How you doing, Showtime and Keith?
What's up, Kendrick?
What's up, man? Shawn, I know I've asked you a couple of times, but can you talk about just how big of a legacy that you need this, so that when you hang up the gloves, you how big would this fight be in your legacy when it's all said and done in a big stack of things?
Yeah, this fight has been in my mind for a number of years, you know, and I've said this before, you know, looking at our careers and the way that they were moving, and both of us being at 147, Keith being as dominant as he has been, I knew that this was going to, you know, this fight would happen eventually, and it was a fight that I wanted to happen, you know. I'm all about, you know, beating the guy that is considered the guy. I'm all about being the number one. You know, I love having all eyes on me. You guys know me to be very humble, but when I'm in the ring, when I'm performing, when everyone's watching, I want them to be watching me, seeing what I'm doing, and screaming my name. You know, so I think knowing what Keith has done and him being the champion, when you beat a champion, you take the belt. That's how you form your legacy. You know, you don't form your legacy from, you know, beating C-level fighters, B-level fighters. You beat those AA plus fighters, and you take their belts, and that's how you establish your greatness.
Well, it'd be safe to say that whoever wins this fight will be the 147 kingpin that throne that Floyd's left. That y'all be the heir to that throne. Because y'all basically fighting for the number one spot at welterweight.
I mean, if you really take a look at it, we both have the attitude for it. We both have the physicality and the athleticism to be that number one guy. You know, it's just a matter of me getting in there and doing what I got to do.
And same for you, Keith. How does this register, you think, your legacy when it's all said and done? What does it play? Do you need this fight to have that legacy that you want?
Most definitely. You know, this is a great fight. This is the perfect fight, really. This is exactly, you know, the kind of fights that we want. You know, legacy is a process, and this fight is a part of that process, you know. Making these kind of matchups and everything, and you know, getting just, you know, great high-level opponents like Shawn was talking about. You know, Shawn only has one loss, and you know, he brings his best each and every time in the ring. He's always gunning for victory. You know, he just made a statement that he's knocking my head off. So, you know, this is going to be a great fight, you know, and all I've ever wanted to do in boxing was be champion of the world and give the world great fights like this fight to come. So I mean, I'm really excited. Me and my team are really looking forward to this.
And do you think this was a little fight? Use the kingpin at 147, or do you think you got to go through the Garcias and everybody and unify the belts to be that looked at as the guy like Floyd was for all these years?
Yeah, I don't like your guys' approach to these questions when everyone's talking about the new king, the new king, the new king, the new king. You know, it's not like there was a successor lined up waiting. You know, it's not like, you know, there's work to do. The next generation, in my opinion, you know, I'm a humble fighter, and I like to humble myself on the regular. So, you know, the young generation's got a lot of work to do before there's a king involved on top of any of our names. If you ask me personally, which you are. So, you know, yeah, I would love to get through Danny Garcia, you know, and then solidify more of the the debate of the best at 147, man. But to see the best at 147, man, it's just going to take a little bit of time, you know. And I just feel like you writers are rushing to get the best, to claim the best, you know. And claiming the best is cool. There's nothing wrong with claiming the best. But to get the best is going to take a little bit more time. It's not even going to happen this year, you know. But I look forward to the journey and the process.
Well, this is my last question then. This for both of y'all. So you feel that, of course, like you said, you got to go through the process. What that process said, when it's all said and done, do you feel like you have to fight Danny Garcia? You have to fight Earl Spence to find out who's that man, who's that top dog? Because I know I talked to Spence personally. He wants to fight anybody that get in the ring with him at 147. He's ready to go for anybody. But none of y'all really go on record and say, like, hey, I want to fight everybody to, when it's all said and done, you look back at my resume, I didn't fight everybody. It's kind of like, well, I'm just taking it case by case. So what is...
Well, you know what? I'll answer that first because I just fought Adrian Browner, who is a world champion again, and definitely one of the most athletic fighters out there. The process does not stop. You know, I fought one of the top guys, and here I am fighting arguably the top guy right now. You know, so the process just does not stop. You know, and like my dad says, you're only as good as your last performance. You know, so. It's going to be steady until it's over, until I'm done, and you know, when I'm done, that's when, you know, I'll actually entertain being called great or being called one of the best. But until that time, I'm just working hard to be where I'm at right now, which is, you know, arguably considered to be one of the best. But the process just does not stop until it's completely over.
And for you, Keith?
For me, you know, the way I look at it is I'm a big fan of what I call the Mayweather shadow, right? Mayweather's legacy has casted a shadow over the 147 division. And the real issue is that Mayweather was at the top for over a decade. And you want somebody to replace him, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's really going to take almost another decade. You need to really see who's going to be the top dog for the next 3 to 5 years. And then you got a king, because kings rule. Kings rule. Kings don't come up and come down and do this and do that. You know, kings rule. And that's, you know, to me, that's the main reason why I ever allowed the name king to come out of my mouth when talking about Floyd Mayweather, because he did rule 147-pound division. Okay, so, you know, this fight is a great fight. It's a stepping stone. It's heading in the right direction for either fighter of proving themselves, and many other great fights to come. But it's going to take every single one of those great fights so that you can have the great of the new generation. And, you know, that's just how I feel, and I'm going to feel that way till everybody's gone.
And our next question is going to come from Dan Raphael from ESPN. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Hey, guys, I wanted to follow up just a little bit. I heard earlier in the call, I know you guys both spoke about your respect and love for each other, and you know, I've heard it thrown around that, you know, you guys are friends. But I'm curious. You've known each other since the amateur days. How close of friends are you? Was it like slap on the back, how's it going when you see each other at an amateur tournament, or if you see each other at the Barclays Center at some other fight? Or was it like, you know, you're good pals and you have dinner together if you see each other, or you call each other up on the phone? Where do you guys stand with that? Keith, if you could answer that.
You know, definitely, you know, love, man. A lot of back slapping, dapping, you know, reminiscing, talking, and yeah, man, we've shared meals together. You know, when Shawn Porter was in my camp, we spent a lot of time together. You got to meet my mother and stuff. Obviously, I know his father. His father was a team trainer for international event when USA fought Ukraine, and the only two people in the USA to win was Keith Thurman and Shawn Porter. So, you know, it's been an interesting journey, man. I mean, it's really a lot of fun. I'm actually honored and blessed and grateful to grow up with this kid and to have this opportunity with the same person, this individual, you know, knowing that he's in the way of my dreams, I'm in the way of his dreams, but it's still just a very fun process, you know, to have a rival be so personal, somebody that you really know, somebody that you've been cheering for, but, the 25th is the only day that I'm not allowed to cheer for Shawn Porter.
Oh, I got you on that. Shawn, you heard what Keith just said. Where do you fall in that in terms of the way the relationship has been over these years?
Yeah, I was going to say, man, I don't know. You guys be the judge of it. Like you said, we spent time together in camp. Going back to when we were in the amateur, we fought in the international duel once together. I don't know. We're friends. We know each other very well. We don't talk on a daily basis.
Right.
But we do know each other.
Now, I have to assume that of all the time you spent together in your training camps and you sparred together, haven't you?
I would say Keith and I are friends, but we're not, best pals.
We're not besties. We're not.
Yeah,
We're not.
I would
say
if I needed help, he's probably, 10 to 15 or 20th person I would call on the list. He's not first or second or anything like that.
Now, when you were together in those early days of your amateur career doing the international competitions, or even perhaps as young professionals on the way up, how much did you guys spar together? It must have been at least sometimes if you're in the same camp with each other, right?
No, you know what? We only sparred that one time. I came down to Clearwater to get some sparring. I had been on a long layoff, and I was coming back for a fight. And he was getting ready for Chino. And that's when we crossed paths in the ring. But outside of that, it's just been more so, different weight classes, kind of rooting for one another.
How long ago was that, Shawn?
2012, I believe.
Oh, so fairly recently, but never as amateurs, though, even though you were together in the camps.
Now we got in the ring once in Colorado Springs. Remember, Shawn? Your dad and Ben Getty, they negotiated a sparring session between the two of us in Colorado Springs. You remember that ring?
Okay. Oh, yeah. But how many rounds did we do? 4?
That was a simple little amateur little sparring, and it was a little something. That was the first time I ever got to, and we,
But like I said, Dan. To anybody that's wondering, if we're too friendly with one another to take one another out, no, we're not.
Do you remember, Keith, what year that was when you did that 4 rounds in Colorado Springs, approximately?
It was definitely towards the end of the amateur career, so I would say maybe 07.
Right. Well, you turned pro at the end of 07, so probably that would be. I guess
so maybe earlier in 07.
So am I? I mean, you guys have been respectful to each other all through this thing, even on this phone call. I don't anticipate, you're not going to be slugging each other at a press conference or anything. But do you believe in any way, shape, or form that your positive relationship with each other will in any way diminish the intensity that you have when the bell rings, or because you know the guy and you want to really prove something, that it might actually bring it up a level? I've heard different fighters talk differently about that. Where do you fall on that category?
Yeah, I could probably answer that question for the both of us. Our levels will be raised just from a competitive standpoint, from a standpoint of him not wanting me to take that belt, and from a standpoint of me wanting to take that belt. The levels will be raised, simple as that, and I think, we both appreciate that about one another, is that, this is a fight where the public is watching, waiting, wanting to know who's going to be the winner. And we want to give the public all they want, and we want to win. So simple as that.
And when it's all done, friends again?
Yes, sir.
Keith?
Yeah, there's no problem. Yeah, man. I mean, this is going to be an intense fight. Shawn always brings intensity. I'm always bringing my power. I mean, I just don't. There's no way this cannot be an entertaining fight. And there's no way that he's not going to raise his bar by knowing what it's like, knowing that I've been training hard, he's been training hard, and just knowing that, he's one step away from getting that belt back around his waist and moving forward with his career. You got 2 young fighters in their prime fighting on prime time. I mean, This is the time. This is the prime time. Mayweather's gone. Pacquiao's gone. There is no better time than this time, you know, for this fight to go down and for each one of us to showcase our skills and our talents to the world and take it to that next level, you know. So there should be not 1 ounce of hesitation from either fighter. It should be a great night of boxing. I'm definitely looking forward to it. You know, I mean, this is my life, man. I laugh at it, you know, because I'm having fun each and every time. You know, I'm going to really enjoy this. This is going to be a fun event, a great event.
All right, guys. Thank you. It'll be one time versus Showtime on primetime. Thanks, guys.
Exactly. Thank you.
And
thanks, man.
our next question is going to come from Lynn Satterfield from Premier Boxing. Please go ahead.
Hey, guys. How both of you guys doing?
What's up, man?
Great line of questioning there. Just got one question for each of you. First, Keith, this is your 20th anniversary as a boxer. Dan Birmingham's 50th in the sport. Can you talk about your working relationship and your bond between him, obviously Chris Getty, and, you know, what your unified purpose in continuing, you know, the legacy of Ben Getty, and, you know, how special that relationship has been, especially, you know, given, you know, that Dan Birmingham had his, you know, his near-death experience, and you know, had the car accident.
Well, you know, it's always been really nice to be a part of St. Pete Boxing here with Dan Birmingham ever since I got here when I was 14 years old. You know, watching him train Wink, watching him train Jeff, and then, you know, eventually he was working with me as a mitt man on behalf of Ben Getty because his joints just couldn't hold the mitts for me no more. He couldn't take my punching power. So me and Dan, you know, at the age of 14, 15, you know, got a real good relationship in the ring, a real nice feel for one another. And when Ben passed, you know, I just knew that Dan being my time was going to become my first, and that nobody was really better for the job. I was actually offered by Shelly Finkel to go over to the Wild gym or whatever and work with Freddie Roach. And I just, you know, I told Shelly, I said, Freddie Roach doesn't know anything about Keith Thurman and where Keith Thurman comes from. Dan Birmingham, you know, knows everything about me, knows my progression, knows about Ben Getty, knows how we used to train together, our focus, our drive, our dreams, what we want to accomplish, you know. And ever since Ben passed, I brought Chris into the situation because Ben was always talking to Chris about fighters' records on BoxRec. What do they think about our next opponent coming up, this and that. And I tell everybody I just feel a lot more comfortable knowing throughout my professional career that I have one Getty in my corner, because Ben Getty truly raised me from the age of 7 to the age of 20 when he passed away. So, you know, I mean, we got a great team here, man. You know, it's just, we go really deep. You know, we're almost like a family over here. Everybody loves everybody, man, and respects everybody. And, you know, everybody wants the best for me, and I'm truly grateful for that. You know, Ben always talked about how important a great team is, and then how important getting with the right networks, you know. So with my team, with Al, with everything that's happening with PBC and CBS here, man, I mean, really, when I reflect back on the 20 years, man, I'm proud to be an American. You know, I'm proud to have this opportunity to live this life that I've chosen for myself. And that, you know, nothing so far, even with a few bumps and bruises in the road, has steered me away from being champion of the world, man. So I'm just truly blessed and just trying to keep living this dream and creating my legacy.
Pete, thank you so much for that. Now for you, Shawn, you know, we talked about this a little bit, you know, last couple of days, but, you know, relationships between father and son in this sport, there's so many bad ones, and I know in your head those. What makes your relationship with your father so unique and specifically different than some of the ones that you've seen just erode and fail to the point where, you know, some of the fighters for a long time don't even get along with their dads anymore?
Well, you know what? Boxing is a hard sport. It's it takes a hard mentality, a hard demeanor, a hard personality just to compete and train and all that kind of stuff. You know, my dad is that person. My dad is a hard person. He doesn't mind hard, but in a lot of ways I'm the opposite. You know, I'm more easygoing. I'm more laid back. I'm more, you know, tell me what to do and I'll do it. You know, I think when you take a look at the history of boxing, that's what, you know, I'm only hard when I have to be hard, and that's when I compete. Whether it's father-son duels or whatever, you know, the son is a hothead and is hard both in and out of the ring, you know, so it makes that relationship hard to deal with, you know. But my dad and I, we click, and we can make it happen. You know, there's nothing that we go through or don't go through that doesn't help us raise each other's levels and bring us to the place that we need to be, where we're able to perform in the ring together and be successful together. I think that's kind of what separates us. It's kind of our love and our bond and our respect for one another, and being able to, you know, mesh our personalities. You know, I think that separates us from other father and son duels.
Guys, thank you for the answers, and I'll see you guys next week.
We're going to take one more question and let these gentlemen go back to their lives.
Thank you.
We have no more further questions in queue. That was the last question.
Well, that's good timing. On again, June 25th, 2016, Showtime Championship Boxing on CBS, presented by Premier Boxing Champions, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Come to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York that night. Get tickets right now at Ticketmaster, BarclaysCenter.com, Ticketmaster.com, Barclays Center box office. The best fighting the best. Only one man's going to win in the ring. But everybody in that arena is going to win, and everybody watching on television is going to win. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you all for joining us.
You guys have a great day.
For having us.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining this conference call. You may all disconnect.